So we have been talking about slope quite a bit. We just did a quiz on it even. That's how much we've been talking about slope. Now remember this form. Y equals mx plus b. What does m stand for? What does b stand for? Okay, good. So what's the y-intercept? Where it crosses the y-intercept, right? Where it crosses the y-axis. Now, what is x when it crosses the y-axis? 0, right? Like when it's crossing here, right? X is 0. So if you put 0 in here, your slope times 0 is what? 0, just leaving you with b anyway. So even mathematically it proves that that's the y-intercept. Okay? Now today, we are going to be working with y equals mx plus b. But sometimes they don't give it to us in the form y equals mx plus b. An example would be right here. It is not in the form y equals. Okay, let's just take it over here where there's some room. Actually, I don't want to be going through my graph here. Okay, so let's go over here. Now, I have 4x plus 2y equals 8. Now you want to get y by itself. What's the first thing you need to do? Subtract? Nope. 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 This is not going well so far. You have to subtract 4x, which will give me 2y equals 8 minus 4x. Then what do we do? Divide. Now, you divide this by 2, and make sure you divide all of this by 2. So this would be y equals, this is the same thing as 8 over 2 minus 4x over 2. I could split the 2 up. Y equals 4 minus 2x. Now really, that's not totally in the form y equals mx plus b. I can move it around. So it would be y equals negative 2x plus 4. Are we getting presents? Yeah? Okay. Okay. So, y-intercept. Y-intercept is 4. Slope? Negative 2. Now, there's two ways to be able to graph. The way I'm going to show you first is the easy way. Because how many points do you need to draw a line? 2. Now, what is 1? I know for sure just by looking at the equation. The y-intercept is 4. So can you put that there? Now, I need one more point. How am I going to find it, Shanna? Okay, so I've got this thing of negative 2. What does that mean? Okay, so I want to stop you there. Negative 2 over 1. And that's important the 1 is there, because if you don't put a 1 there, people think it's a 0. Okay, so Shanna, what would I do from that point? Okay, so I'm going to go down to, when do I go left? Never. And right 1. Okay, you have just, without doing the chart on the side that I'm going to show you next, you have just done that line. So graph the y-intercept and use the slope and do what it says. If it says go up 5, go up 5, go over 2, draw the point, draw the line. That's how quick it is. Now, the other way is for you to choose points. Now, since you're choosing the points, be nice to yourself. Don't pick 2.18347 as your x and then your y. Okay, what's a nice x? A 1, right? Isn't 1 one of the nicest ones? So if you put 1 into your equation here, that would be Negative 2 times 1 is what? Plus 4. 2. So I'm going to put that there. 1, 2 is supposed to be on this graph. Is 1, 2 on this graph? 1, 2, right there. And if you want, you can go find another point. So this is the red. Why don't I do 4? Let's put in 4. Okay. So I'm going to cross this off, so I'm going to put in 4. So negative 2 times 4. Negative 8. Plus 4. Think of the Cowboys. Negative 4. So I should get, and you can see my line's off a little bit when I drew it. Because negative 4, negative 4. There we go. There it is, 4, negative 4. So here's the 2 points I did by putting it into my equation. And then here's the 2 points I did by using my y equals mx plus b. Both are acceptable ways, but I prefer to use y-intercept, graph it, use my slope, find the other point, draw it, done. Okay? But sometimes you get a mark for the table of values. The table of values is much easier if you can get your equation set up. Because then it just pops out your y when you put your x's in, right? Okay. B is actually easier than A. What do I need to do to solve for this? Add 3x to both sides, because what's my goal at all times? Get it to be y equals. So this would be y equals negative 2 plus 3x. Now I'm close, but I kind of don't like this form, because we've been like mx plus b, mx plus b. So what would it be if it was in mx plus b? 3x minus 2. Okay, what's the y-intercept? Did we write that up here? Yeah, we did. Okay, what's the y-intercept? Negative 2. What is the slope? Okay, or better, 3 over 1. So y-intercept is negative 2. Now where am I going from there? Up 3. 1, 2, 3, and right 1. There you go. Okay, so it looks like 1, 1 is on this graph, isn't it? Okay, well let's test 1, 1. What if we put 1 into here? 3 times 1? Minus 2? Okay, so it actually shows that that should be on the line. Maybe I should test another one. Supposedly 2, 2 is on this, or 2, 3. Looks like 2, 3 is on this graph. Let's try it. 2, if I put it in. 6 minus 2. Oh, so it's supposed to be 2, 4. That helps me. Just move over a smidge. There we go. It's actually easier if you have a ruler. Like I don't have a ruler to put down. I actually have to bring this line over. But if you have a ruler, you can just put it down on your 2 points and then you draw it. Where I don't have that on here. So if I put 2, I will get the answer 4. Oops. And 2, 4 is on here. So you've been given points, but you don't have to always. Now those are nice points, right? We don't want to pick decimals, and we don't want to pick fractions, and we don't want to pick negative 1,000, right? You're just making it difficult for yourself. Okay. So given the equations negative 3x plus y equals negative 2 and 4x plus 2y equals 8 from the previous page, isolate y. We did that already, right? Okay, and we talked about the slope and y-intercept, so we've already done this whole page. Okay? So, to be redundant, this is always the slope. And b is always the y-intercept. Always, always, always. Great thing about math, there's tons of alwayses. That's nice, because then you're not second guessing anything. Okay, so now I think this is a pretty cool skill now, that you can look at an equation and draw it. And next year you'll be doing x squared graphs, and x cubed graphs, and x fourths of the graphs, and you're always going to have that connection between the equation and the picture, because that is an awesome skill, to be able to look at an equation and go, I know what that looks like. Okay? Because most students a week ago could not look at an equation and go, yeah, I know what that line would look like. Okay? So, let's do this one. Y-intercept. See, I always deal with y-intercept first. What is it? So put it down. -1. What's the slope? 2 over 1. So from there, I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. Right? So I'm counting up 2. Now when do I know when to go up? How come I don't go down? When it's positive, you go up. When it's negative, you go down. When do I go right? Always. Okay? So there it is. And then I'm going to try, should be something like that. So it's kind of like if you're decoding the equation, they're really quick. And then you guys all have graphing calculators. You could put it in. And all of these have the same window settings right now as your graphing calculator. Okay, so let me just bring up my lesson again here. Okay, so if I was to graph this one here, we hit our y equals button, right? Almost looks like I have it in there. But ours is 2x minus 1. Okay, and if I graph it, that's our graph. Looks kind of the same, hey? Which would be a good thing. Okay, so start with the y-intercept. It is slope. What's the slope? -3 over 1. So I'm going to put my 2 down, and where will I go from there? Down 3. So 1, 2, 3, and left 1, right? No, but it's negative. Okay. If you guys say so. I'll always have students, no matter how many times I say always go right, they're like, but it's negative. Well, that's your up-down. You're always going to go right. The only time you don't is never. Okay? Ooh, decimals. Used to be our friends, decimals. Now, again, if you're scared of decimals, right, in this calculator you just go 0.5, and then you hit math, right, the button right under the alpha, and just hit enter twice, and it'll always change it to fraction for you. 0.5, I know you guys all know, is a half, but I thought it would be a good one to show you that it works. Up on the ceiling there. Okay, so I already gave that away. What's my slope? Okay, y-intercept. Okay, so what do I do? What do I need to do to graph this? Start at 1, put a point. Then I'm going to go down. Okay, it's up 1 and right 2. That's what that line would look like. And if you wanted to get another point, from here, how could you get another point? So if I'm right here, how could I get one more point? go up 1, right 2. Because the slope will remain constant. Okay, you can even see my lines off a little bit. So if you want to really get accurate, just keep going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. In fact, sometimes when the points are too close together, maybe your line won't be as accurate. Okay, this one here, y-intercept. So we write down 3. Where will I go from there? Down 2, 1, 2, and right 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's that point. And if I want one more point, I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, and right 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so yes, you only need 2 points to do a line, but 3 is better than 2. You can see how much easier it is for me, who I don't have a ruler, to just put nicely over. It is easier for me to draw a more accurate graph. With 3 points when they're farther apart. Uh-oh. This is not good. Yep. It is. Is there a plus 0 here? Yes, there is. It's imaginary. Okay. And then what are we doing? Up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those points are far enough away from each other that I'm going to have a pretty good line. Takes a while with this thing. Be about like that. Okay, and then you can see with the next one, not a very usable form. It's not in y equals mx plus b, because when we have that form, it's nice, right? Fast. Y-intercept, slope, done. Okay, so how would I get this so the y is by itself? So I'm going to plus 9 to both sides. So I'll get 5x plus 3y equals 9. Minus 5x, 3y minus 9, or equals 9, minus 5x. Okay, so then I'm going to divide everything by 3. So y will equal 9/3 minus 5/3 x. Y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3 minus 5/3 x. Again, not in the perfect form, right? So let's do a quick little, what would that be? Yes? 5/3 x plus 3, okay? Because that negative is with the 5/3, keep it with the 5/3. Okay? Now, y-intercept is 3. And then where am I going? Down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we get our handy dandy ruler out and draw a line. So probably the only barrier you might have is not getting it done correctly when you do your algebra, and then of course everything else goes bad after that. Yes, Shanna? So how do you put, it's always got to be y equals. See how this is always set up y equals? So yours has to be y equals. That's why this form is not usable by your calculator. You can only have one variable in your calculator. It's the limitation. No, because if you put in a point here, 1, it should be the same thing if you put a 1 in there, right? And whatever you get out of it, put in, but that's definitely a way to check. Okay, so if you haven't picked up the little bundle there, here's your assignment, if you choose to accept it, which you will. You'll have to see.